Good afternoon, everybody. Hope you're well and enjoying this Thursday afternoon. I thought I'd bring a little bit of sparkle to your day today because I want to talk all about the brain and glitter. Everyone's going, what, Caroline? What on earth has glitter got to do with the brain? Well, I work with people of all different age groups, okay? I've got a little 6-year-old working with me at the moment, and I've got a chap who's in his 70s working with me at the moment. So it's really important for me that I find ways to explain what is sometimes quite complicated, complex neuroscience stuff in ways that's quite easy and engaging to understand, the kind of thing that people can go away and repeat to other people. So I often find myself thinking about how I can relate something to something that we all understand, something that's quite normal in our lives. So you've heard me talking about our brain being a bit like a sat-nav before. You've heard me talking about mobile phones and how that relates to our well-being. So today I'm going to be talking about glitter, okay? And I'm going to introduce to you my glitter jars, which are very popular, both with children and adults, because it hits the mark. It really does help to explain what's going on and what it feels like. So I'm going to start by showing you a glitter jar that I've got already, which some people may be surprised is green and not purple, but don't worry, we might rectify that in a moment. But the reason why I use these jars is to try and explain a little bit about why it's important that we have a quiet mind, why we calm our mind down. Because one of the things that people say to me, it's such a common thing, is that it never seems to stop up here. This is going all the time. The brain is constantly thinking, and there's no quiet time in their brain at all. It's a constant process of what if, or what has, or what about this, what about that, I need to do this, I need to do that. The brain is whizzing so much. And one of the first things that I do when I'm working with people is help them to learn how to calm that down. So what this jar represents is our mind, okay? So let's just imagine that this is your mind when you wake up in the morning, okay? You can kind of see this jar is kind of clear. You can see through it. And in the bottom of this jar, I'm just going to bring it in closely, you can see that we've got lots of glitter down here, okay? I've got 3 types of glitter in here, 3 different colours, one that represents our thoughts, one that represents our feelings, and one that represents our emotions. So the idea is when we wake up in the morning, we should have a nice clear mind like this, okay? Even if it's just for a fraction of a second, okay? And then what happens is we suddenly remember what it is we've got to do that day. We suddenly remember that email that came in from our boss before we switched off the phone last night. Someone's shouting up the stairs for Cocoa Pops and we've only got Rice Krispies. We can only find the left shoe and not the right shoe. And suddenly what's happening in our brain is this. All of those thoughts, feelings, emotions, behaviours, urges to do things are all swirling around our brain and we can't see clearly. We literally cannot see clearly to be able to deal with any of this stuff. It's a little bit like having a ball of wool in your head with 50 ends. You know, if you pull one of them, everything will start to unravel. But when your brain's whizzing like this, you don't know where to start. So what we want to do is to calm all this down. We want all of this stuff to settle down to the bottom so that we have a nice clear mind again. And of course, no amount of effort is going to make that settle any quicker. Actually, if we try and put effort in, all that happens is it whizzes it all up again. The only way to make all this stuff settle is to be still. And when all of those thoughts, feelings, emotions, behaviours, urges all settle down to the bottom, they haven't disappeared. Life's still exactly the same as it was before. Nothing's disappeared, it's all still there. But what we've got is a clear mind, so that we're able to deal with that stuff. So having a quiet mind is really important, because actually when our brain is whizzing and doing all of this, not only can it not see clearly, but all of its capacity is going into this whizzing process, okay? Our brain has very limited energy resources available to it every day, about 500 calories is available to our brain for doing all of its thinking, all of its thought processes. And of course, if it's using up all of its energy, whizzing all these thoughts around, we don't have any brain energy left for problem solving, for sorting through information, for thinking creatively. All of our energy is going in to keeping that stuff whizzing around our brain. And we can start to see now, even as this stuff hasn't completely settled, but it's settled enough that we can start to see a little bit more clearly. So a big part of me working with people is helping them learn how to quieten their mind. And this is where the glitter jar comes in again, okay? This is a great tool for explaining to people about what that horrible busy mind is. Every time I show this to people, they nod and go, oh my God, that's what's going on inside my head all the time, okay? And we can use the glitter jar actually to help us settle our mind as well. We can use this as a bit of a mindfulness tool, okay? Because do you know what? When it's doing this, okay, it's kind of mesmerising, isn't it? We can't help but watch. It's a bit like a snow globe. And do you know the word mesmerising? It's really important actually, because Franz Mesmer was a physician back in the mid 1700s, and the term mesmerism came from the work that he did. And within 100 years, the term mesmerism had been replaced by the term hypnosis. So yeah, there's an absolute connection between being mesmerised and the benefits, from Mesmer's point of view, as a healing benefits. That's what he first started looking at, of being in that kind of mesmerised state. Because that's all trance is, okay? Trance is where our brain is so focused in on one thing that everything else fades away in the background. And when we're so focused on one thing, our brain can't be doing that whizzing. Our brain can only focus on one thing at a time. So actually, if we have ourselves a glitter jar sat on our desk next to our computer, and when our brain is starting to feel like it's frying, we shake that glitter jar up and we pop it on our desk and we watch until all of that glitter is settled down to the bottom. Kind of acts as a bit of a reset for our brain, okay? It gives our brain those few moments where it's not whizzing incessantly, where actually it can start to let all of that stuff settle so we can start to see clearly again. And one of the things we can do as we're waiting for that glitter to settle is we can actually do some nice breathing techniques. My favourite breathing technique is one called 7-11. This is where we breathe in for the count of 7 and we breathe out for the count of 11. So that ratio between the short in breath and the longer out breath triggers our relaxation response. So actually, if we're putting all of our focus on watching this glitter settle, we're switching off our mind, and if we're doing that breathing, we're also triggering off our relaxation response. We get a double whammy, okay? Because we literally cannot be stressed and relaxed at the same time. So I thought we'd have a little bit of fun this afternoon and we'd make our own glitter jar, okay? I'm going to show you how to make a glitter jar because it is so easy. Costs a couple of quid. All you need to do is pop yourself down to a well-known high street store that begins with a W, and you can, for a couple of quid, buy everything that you need, okay? And it is about time I had a purple glitter jar again, because my last glitter jar, my last purple one, met a very sorry end just over there in the corner of my room. Gone but not forgotten, because every time I walk in the room I notice a little bit of purple glitter that's stuck somewhere on the floor or on the wall. So I thought we would make a glitter jar today so that you guys can have your very own glitter jar to help you to quieten your mind down. So all we need, first of all, is one of these Kilner jars, okay? You can have any size you like. When I'm working with kids, I tend to go for the smaller size because it can easily fit in their hand. But the really important thing about these jars is the lid, okay? It's got a rubber seal here so that when you seal that jar, it's waterproof. So that when you're shaking it and you're turning it upside down, you're not getting glitter spraying everywhere, okay? So you've got your jar, and all we need is a bit of water, okay? We're going to fill the jar, not all the way up quite yet, but we'll top it up in a bit. So we're going to fill it most of the way up, okay? And then the really important ingredient for your glitter jar is glitter glue, okay? So, got some purple here. The important thing about the glitter glue is that this is what dictates how long it takes the glitter to settle. Okay, this is what suspends the glitter in the water for longer. So if you want a jar that settles very quickly, particularly if you've got a child, don't put very much glue in. If you want it to take a little while to settle and go down, if you want to give your brain a nice bit of relax and rest, put some extra glue in. Okay, so we're going to squeeze a nice, I'm going to go for probably a couple of spoons, and we'll see. We can always add more. I need all my strength for this. Oh my goodness. Right. Okay. We'll give that a go. Okay. So we've got a nice blob of glitter glue. And of course you can make this any colour you like. I've got a whole tray of different coloured glitters here that I use when I'm making them with children. But this is my jar, so it's definitely going to be purple today. So extra purple, okay? So I'm going to add some purple in. Like I said, I like to put the 3 different colours in just because of that really nice analogy about our thoughts, our feelings, and particularly those urges, those behaviours that we have. We kind of think, oh, I really want to say something, but actually we know that, do you know what, it's much better if I let that go. And when we've got a clear mind, we can just let stuff go, rather than kind of ending up going down some of those negative kind of pathways in our brain that actually we know ultimately don't help. So I'm going to go for some gold as well today. I'm going to make this a nice sumptuous glitter jar. So we've got some purple, we've got some gold in there, and some silver as well. So this is really a very rich glitter jar. So that's us for starters. Okay, time to test it and see whether we like it or not. So pop our waterproof lid on, make sure it's tight, and give it its first shake. Okay, now when you first do a glitter jar, what you'll find is that it goes very foamy at the top, and quite often what you get is a lot of glitter that sticks around the top to start with. Once you've used it a couple of times, that glitter is much heavier and will sink back down to the bottom, so you won't get that residue so much. And what I'm noticing here with this jar is that it's settling very quickly. And actually, I'd quite like it to take a little bit longer to settle. So this is where we can tweak things. So I'm going to add some more glue. So, oh, it's coming out easier this time. Excellent. And I'm going to give it another shake, and we can see how long that takes. Actually, it's really nice. When you shake it in that circular movement, you get those really nice patterns in it. See, look, that's taking longer now. It's got more glue in it. Let's just see. Oh, I'm getting mesmerised by this. Do you know what? I think that's probably about right. It's not going down too quickly. We've still got some glue at the top that hasn't quite mashed into that water yet. So when you first make it, it's well worth giving it a really good shake just to make sure all of that glue gets absorbed into the water. But then after that, all it takes is just a little whooshy round, and then you can sit and watch it and let yourself get mesmerised. Have your own little mini trance, reset your brain, let all of that stuff settle so that you can see clearly again. And it makes such a difference. It's like a little mini version of sleep, isn't it? You know, when we sleep, we wake up the next morning and everything always feels a bit clearer. It's because we're letting our brains settle overnight. So have some fun. Go and make yourself a glitter jar, okay? They're not just for kids. They're brilliant for us adults as well. And I love it. Post me your pictures. I'd love to see what colours that you make. Post me your pictures of your glitter jars when you make them, and let me know how much fun that you have with them. Because, do you know what? It's something so simple, but it really does make a difference. It's the little things like that we do, little and often, that helps us to be able to stay on top of things and helps us to stay in control of what's going on in our mind. So thank you for joining me today. Thank you for joining me and my glitter. And I am covered in glitter now, which is great. And I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, and I hope you have fun making your very own glitter jar. See you soon, guys. Bye.